Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Leo season, Scorpio sun, moon, and rising. Hello, my Scorpios. So, I do have a longer video on the astrology of Leo season. It will be linked below, but I think something that is important to kind of talk about is that a good portion of Leo season is functioning within a Mercury retrograde. And this Mercury retrograde is really connected with the last few summers. So, there's like an extra weight to what's happening here. And so, don't expect things to be normal. We're not dealing with like normal summer fun. We're dealing with a lot of processing and understanding and connecting the dots between past, present, and future, and all of those things. So just know that that's kind of the baseline that we're starting with. There's other stuff happening. You can check that out in my other video, but just know that a Mercury retrograde is functioning. And something I've noticed in Mercury retrogrades is that it's not that everything is chaos for everyone, but the thing that we consider chaos often happens. So a good example is like if you're really good at making slow, thoughtful, well thought out decisions, you might be pushed into making some really aggressive new decisions right off the fly. Or if you're someone who tends to make snap decisions and do things kind of on impulse, you're forced to kind of pull back and make a really considered one. And that's just one example. If you're really good at meeting and connecting with people, you might be called to have a slower form of integration and connection with relationships during this time. And if you're really bad at it, you might just be dumped into a relational situation. So know that this is really unique to, your own chart and to your own personality and how you function. It's not going to be the same for everyone. Starting off, I do love this. We get a Daughter of Pentacles. There's something we're planting in this season, something that requires hope and authenticity and a belief in the thing that you're doing. I think this is also, if you've been feeling a bit kind of run down and uninspired, I do think this retrograde and Leo season is going to bring you a new sense of connection to what you want to do and where you want to go with the things that you would like to do. It's not going to move quickly. It's a pentacle. It exemplifies earth energy, which is consistency and cycles. So it's not going to be fast, but there's something at the beginning of this season, especially, that calls you to really infuse hope and youthfulness and joy into the things that you were doing. A nice little refresh. I also think, especially looking at the cards, I think there's something in this season that is going to require you to really look back at the past, to connect back to younger versions of yourself, to recognize childhood things, and specifically, if we have Three of Swords, childhood woundings and the stories that we tell ourselves. And it's very kind of Leo centered, obviously, with a retrograde during the season in the sign. But like the stories that we've been told about ourselves that have affected the way that we feel about who we are, and the way that we tell stories about ourselves, and the way that we care, and the experiences that we have. Um, the Three of Swords doesn't always have to be devastatingly painful. It's just around wounding and hurting and feelings of pain and unprocessed trauma. So I do think this retrograde is going to require you to do that. Also, for me, Leo very much embodies kind of the confidence of children. There's a reason that we kind of roughly associate Leo to the fifth house. That is a lot to do with children. It's that confidence that kids have before someone tells them no, they can't, or they're not good enough, or they criticize their body, or they tell them that they're not beautiful. It's Leo is the energy of that courage and that belief in self that a lot of us get robbed from us as, we move through life and become adults. So I do think that there is a measure of reclaiming that story and the tales that people tell. And I also wonder if in this season, if you have someone who keeps telling old stories about you and they refuse to realize that those stories aren't true anymore, that they're mythology, maybe it's time to cut them off or at least distance ourselves or move away from that kind of energy, because you deserve to be able to move forward fresh and not have people who are constantly putting the past back on you. Obviously, we are a part of our past and we are responsible to it in a certain way, but if someone can't see us for more than what we were last year, then they're probably not going to help us move ahead in the very least. And part of the reason I think this is so retrospective is because we do have a Six of Cups. This is about going back. This is about traversing the past and recognizing all of these roots and where they've gone and how they've affected us and how it's affected our nurture. And it also makes me wonder if we're not dealing with a past life theme, if these stories and these harms don't just exist in this lifetime, but they exist in others. There might be some benefit to looking at healing past timelines, past life rectification, things like that. I actually specialize in it. You can find people who do that everywhere. I just suggest you find someone who aligns with you, um, or in the very least, kind of dig in to trying to connect those dots over time. Now we do have our lovely little Five of Swords, which kind of reaffirms to me this idea that there's some people we might need to cut out that just aren't, quite ready for what it needs to be. I do like the fact that there's a little wormy here cut in half. The severing might be might be less of a loss than you think. If you know anything about earthworms, if you cut them up, put them in the ground, they will grow back, depending on how you slice and dice them. That's how they multiply. So that's one of the ways they multiply. So, there is a benefit here. There's opportunity for new life, even within kind of maybe ending a relationship that's just not functioning for you anymore, or dealing with people who just aren't, the right people to have around you for the time of life you're in and for the things that you need now. And there's no shame or harm in being different and needing to find different kinds of people for the soil that you're in. Doesn't mean it's not harmful, but really keep in your sights this really delicate, beautiful creature that you are, that deserves to be believed and cared for and not tied to, past behaviors. And I'm not saying that you're not responsible for harm you have perpetrated on other people. What I'm saying is that if you have truly changed and if, you are progressing and, a good example is my older sister really struggled with family members constantly referencing way past things that they did and acting like they are a current manifestation of them. And that's just not true. They're not the same person they were 20 years ago. And, using the past in that way to belittle and put people down and treat them as less than is just not good. And so if you have someone in your life who's doing that, or if you've noticed a pattern of people and situations that never let you heal and change, this is the time to kind of cut them off and make space for new things. And then we have the devil. And, for me, the devil is about having to do things differently. It's about not accepting the status quo. It's about going against the grain. To me, actually, in some ways, which would make sense because the Hierophant is 5 and this is 15. The devil is the opposition to the Hierophant. And the Hierophant's not bad. It's this higher knowledge and power, almost like a wizard archetype or a religious leader archetype. And, us coming to the throne or to the person with this knowledge and being handed a quest and going out on our way. Some comes to mind, but the devil is very not that. It's nitty gritty. It's about doing things subversively. It's about not taking the path of altruism all the time and taking the path of chaos or taking the path of resistance or the black sheep even. This is a ram, but you know what I'm saying. So, and I also love they have a pentacle on their forehead, very much this Daughter of Pentacles vibe, just with fiery toes, which I love. But, this season is a season for you to subvert things and to be who you truly want to be. And part of that is going to be exploration and maybe doing stuff that you don't want to keep for long term, but you need to experience and try. And this can also relate to exploration around your body and your sexuality and what you enjoy and who you're attracted to. And a Mercury retrograde, especially in a fire sign, is a great place to do that. And I've been kind of called to read the second card at the bottom of the deck and pretty much all the readings this time around. We also have Mother of Cups. You deserve to be held and cared for. And you deserve that in your own personal life with the way that you perceive yourself and the way that you connect to yourself. Also, never forget, You are a water sign. But you also deserve that care and love to be reciprocated and for people to um, view you as more than the set of circumstances you came from or um, the experiences you are in currently, and to meet you wholly and emotionally full and lovingly. And I think in this retrograde, something to look out for is people who meet us in the fluidity of who we are. And that is my reading for you. Please like and subscribe if you like this. I have a Mercury retrograde video and a Leo season video if you want to check that out for more context. And I will see you in a different space and time. Blessed Leo season.